Ladies and gentlemen, there are a few Dallas Cowboys players that are slated for a breakout season, and it's not just based off of what I feel. It's based off of what the scheme may demand and who will be put in position to be successful. Let's get right into it, as we're not the only ones placing high expectations on these guys. They themselves are talking. And look, we've tried it both ways at this point. We've had teams that don't say anything and just do the corporate walk and talk, and then we have teams that have a couple guys that may be a little bit outspoken, and we have failed both ways. So all that stuff don't matter. At the end of the day, we need dudes who are going to go out there and produce, and as long as these dudes are backing up what they're saying, I think we'll be in good shape. Let's get right into it, and be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content on the regular. Shut your up. All right, the first one of these players that I want to talk about, because I think this may be a shock that ends up happening at some point throughout training camp. I could easily see someone like either a Malik Hooker, but most probably a Donovan Wilson being a casualty of not only the cap, but also of having players at his position that can do exactly what this scheme demands, maybe a little bit better than him. You see, Donovan Wilson is the type of safety that excels playing downhill. If anything, he excels playing in the box more than anything else. Donovan Wilson is not the type of safety that you want having to drop into zone coverages and is playing on his heels a lot, that's having to backpedal a lot, that's having to read and react versus just playing downhill and understanding what gap he needs to fill and what his responsibilities are within the play. You see, in Matt Eberflus's scheme, the safeties are mainly going to be playing zone coverage. In fact, he plays a ton of cover two, meaning your safeties are going to be there essentially for safety valves, so the opposing offenses can't get downfield via deep bombs. Outside of that cover two zone, you also see Matt Eberflus employ a cover two man look and a cover four, but most of the time, his safeties are going to be in zone coverage. They are there to prevent the big play and make plays in the intermediate to deep level of the field. We haven't seen a ton of Donovan Wilson being used as primarily as a coverage safety, so we have to really remember that the players that are going to be mainly used are going to be the guys that fit the schemes the best. Wanye Thomas has the exact skill set that fits Matt Eberflus's scheme of what he needs his safeties to be able to do. Now, the reason I feel like Donovan Wilson may end up being even more of a casualty than someone like a Malik Hooker is obviously past history. Malik Hooker did play on the Indianapolis Colts. I believe he was there at the same time that Matt Eberflus was there. So there's that connection. But also, Malik Hooker is a better coverage safety than someone like a Donovan Wilson. Again, Donovan Wilson's strength lies in being able to be a physical, downhill attacking style safety. He's a thumper. He's a heavy hitter, but by no means do you want Donovan Wilson being caught in coverage. That's usually going to end up being a bad situation. Matt Eberflus is going to be depending upon his front seven to get pressure on the quarterback and to force errant throws, and then he's going to leave it up to the corners and the safeties to make plays on the ball while it's in the air. Wanye Thomas, his superpower is exactly that, and we have seen that anytime he's been on the field and been put in position to be successful. The other thing about Wanye is he has some flexibility. Wanye Thomas is going to end up finding himself on the field at some point anyways, which is why I think he's going to be a breakout candidate for the Cowboys, because he has played all over the field already. He even has taken some linebacker snaps for the Dallas Cowboys as well. All right, so he's played in the box, he's played deep, he's played in nickel, he's played pretty much everywhere as far as a safety can play outside of those two outside corner positions. But I think that he is definitely someone to keep an eye out on. And he said it's fun again. He just tweeted this today. He said it's fun again with a picture of him dapping up Brian Schottenheimer. So expect Wanye Thomas to be a name that catches some fire during training camp. Remember, AOC told you. Next up, interesting player here, JayVante Williams. This is a guy that a lot of Cowboys fans wanted before he ended up facing those injury-plagued seasons with the Denver Broncos. And JayVante Williams could end up being a guy that has a bigger season than many expect. However, if he does end up having a bigger season than many expect, then it's probably going to come at the expense of a rookie on the Cowboys, Jaden Blue, who's also a candidate for a breakout season. I think whoever the running back is that ends up being running back one for the Cowboys, whoever that guy ends up being, guys, I think that's who's going to end up having a much better season at that running back position than pretty much anybody's going to predict. Whether it's JayVante Williams, whether it's Jaden Blue, I don't know. Even a Deuce Vaughn. We can't completely count Deuce Vaughn out just yet, but even a Deuce Vaughn, any of these guys, once they get a chance to run behind this new and improved offensive line with this new and improved offensive coaching staff, I think that running back is going to be slated for a huge season. In fact, Jaden Blue is already predicting he's trying to get his hands on that Rookie of the Year award. Let's take a listen to what the Rook had to say as it pertains to that.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think that'll be me. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm about to say Jade. I'm not just saying.
All right, now, he did name 2 Texas guys, so he could have just been doing a little Texas home cooking there. But by no means is that outside of the realm of possibility. If Jaden Blue were to come out and have a 1,300-yard rushing season as a rookie for the Dallas Cowboys on the biggest stage in all these primetime games, he absolutely could end up winning Offensive Player of the Year, especially in a weak quarterback class year. By all regards, this is a weak quarterback class, right? So he absolutely could end up being the most impactful offensive rookie if he actually manages to get those snaps at the position, because someone like JayVante Williams absolutely could end up being that guy. He's saying he's feeling healthier than ever coming into this season, and he has been taking majority of the first team snaps again. So JayVante Williams and or Jaden Blue, I would keep an eye on. Deuce Vaughn, a dark horse candidate, but I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I'm just not sold on Deuce Vaughn, man. Somebody gonna have to really sell me Deuce Vaughn. I'm just not sold on Deuce Vaughn. I think he hasn't had the best opportunity, but at the same time, he hasn't shown that he can be successful when all things aren't in his favor, right? So it's like, do we go with the guys that are the unknowns, but by all measures have a higher ceiling in a JayVante Williams because he's proven he can be a more effective NFL running back? He's just dealt with some injuries. Or do we go with guys like a Deuce Vaughn, maybe because of familiarity with Connor Riley, and then you got Cooper Beebe up there, and it's kind of like that, you got that familiarity and continuity there. Do you go to Deuce Vaughn? I don't know, but I absolutely believe that Jaden Blue, JayVante Williams are huge candidates for guys that can end up having a big season for the Cowboys. The next guy, Tyler Gayton. This is going to be a make or break season for young Tyler Gayton because everyone is lauding the offensive coaching staff that the Cowboys have put together, primarily the guys that are going to be putting their hands on the offensive line with Connor Riley, Clayton Adams. Now you have Brian Schottenheimer, that 3-headed monster right there. If Tyler Gayton cannot show up better than what he did last season, which, by the way, he was like an average rookie last season. He wasn't good. He wasn't super bad. He was an average rookie. He had bright spots. He had some low spots. It was okay. It was an average rookie season. He wasn't trash poo cheese. So I think we kind of overstated that. The guy got injured. But if he could come back, he looked like he put some weight on, some healthy weight on. I know initially we all were kind of concerned that he looked a little bit thin, but after we actually saw him at OTAs and seen some other pictures, man, Tyler Gayton looks big. And 330 plus pounds, it is going to look a little bit different on 6'8" than it's going to look on 6'3" or something like that, right? So we have to remember that he is a bigger guy, and that weight is going to carry differently, but at the end of the day, it's still the same amount of weight. As long as he's playing with good posture, good positioning, and he's fixing some of the issues he had last season, which he would overset at times. He would reach with his hands too much. He would play with his hands a little bit too much, and that would get him in trouble with all the holding calls and stuff. If he can fix some of that technique stuff, and I think that this coaching staff has the tools to be able to do so, then I think that Tyler Gayton is lined up to have a much, much improved season than we had in his rookie year. And by that regard, it's going to look like a breakout season. If he could come out and look like a above average NFL left tackle, not even a Pro Bowl, not even a All Pro, but an above average NFL left tackle, maybe a fringe Pro Bowl level left tackle, then I think that people are going to be doing backflips over what Tyler Gayton accomplished this upcoming season. And I think that the kid has all the tools to do so. And I think he's another guy that's looking to prove some people wrong. He's another guy that probably has a little bit bigger of a chip on his shoulder than what people think, because he's been counted out, he's been disrespected, he's been disregarded, and he's been looked at as someone that people want to replace after only being able to play 15, 14 odd games in the NFL, which is just absolutely insane to me. Get a kid a chance to make his impact. I think Tyler Gayton's going to be well on his way. And the next guy that I think is going to have a breakout season is none other than YN Shiesty himself, George Pickens. George Pickens has been relegated to the shadow realm for all of his NFL playing career, playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers since 2022, and that young man has never been given a real shot at being able to be his best self. Okay, he's been stuck with Kenny Pickett and Russell Wilson, going through an identity crisis. So I think that him coming here, being able to play next to a CeeDee Lamb, being able to play with a Dak Prescott, only having a career high of 5 touchdowns in a singular season, only having a career high of 1,100 receiving yards in his career, I think that this could be the season he blows the top off of all those numbers, especially with CeeDee Lamb next to him. And I think that George Pickens, en route to helping Dak Prescott secure an MVP bid, I think that George Pickens is going to end up having a 1,400 yard season, with CeeDee Lamb having a 1,100 yard season himself, and then a guy like a Jake Ferguson coming in with an 900 yard season. And I think you will see the Cowboys offense is going to be absolutely explosive with the pieces they've accumulated, and George Pickens is going to finally be able to put together one of his best seasons in his career. As George Pickens he excels at catching go balls down the sideline, and Dak Prescott excels at throwing those as it pertains to comparing him to the other quarterbacks in the NFL. So George Pickens is the other guy that I think this one is kind of like a obvious but not really obvious type of pick. George Pickens is the other guy I think is going to have a massive season for the Dallas Cowboys, and I absolutely expect him to have a breakout year and probably have his best season en route to becoming a free agent and probably breaking the bank a little bit here, all right? But either way, those are the guys that I think the Cowboys should expect to have a massive year this upcoming year. There are honestly maybe about 4 or 5 other guys we're going to take a look at, but those are like the first half, part 1 of the guys that I wanted to kind of discuss real quick. I don't want this video to be too long. You're only going to watch it after a certain point. So those are the first part of the guys I think are going to have a breakout season, and we'll get to the second part probably in a day or two here. And there's probably going to be some surprises on this list as well. So be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content, and I'll see you guys on the next one. How about them Cowboys?
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boy? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.